Let's play a game called Black or White. I'm going to read you off scenarios and you tell me which community it applies to. Black or white. Number 1. Which group is the number 1 perpetrators of mass shootings in America? The correct answer? White. Question 2. Which group is behind the majority of child molestation cases, child pornography, and sex trafficking? The correct answer? White. Question number 3. Which group makes up the number 1 domestic terror threat in the United States? Correct answer? White. Question number 4. Which community has been hit hardest by the opioid crisis, meth, and prescription drug abuse? The correct answer? White. Question number 5. Who leads in intimate partner violence and family annihilation murder-suicides? The correct answer? White. And final question. Double points if you get this one right. Globally, who is responsible for colonialism, slavery, genocide, apartheid, the Holocaust, and 2 world wars? Ding, ding, ding. The answer is white. While there is no prize, just know that you are not a piece of shit if you got all of these right.
White people. If crime statistics really mattered to us, we would be talking about white men every damn day. We as white people love to throw around statistics when it comes to the black community. We love to misconstrue data about poverty rates, crime rates, single-parent households. Here's the thing. If you really want to talk about problematic behavior in terms of statistics, we need to talk about white men. Most mass shootings in America? White men. School shootings? White men. Intimate partner violence, typically known as domestic violence? White men. Police brutality and systemic violence? White men. Online harassment and extremism? White men. Domestic terrorism? White men. Serial killers? White men. The demographic making up the vast majority of CEOs, judges, senators, and police chiefs who refuse to hold white men responsible? White men. And yet us white men are rarely talked about as being a problem. Few white people are asking, what's wrong with white men? What's wrong with the culture? Few white men are demanding that we be fixed. And why? Because we as white men humanize and individualize white violent offenders. And it's time to flip the script. To shame and blame, because I know white males are incredibly fragile when it comes to that, but instead to name what's really going on and who continues to be protected and not held accountable because of selective storytelling.
The book of Jubilees concerning Esau and his descendants, the Edomites, known in modern times as the Caucasian. We're in the book of Jubilees, chapter 35, and I'm going to start at verse 9. And she being Rebekah, Jacob and Esau's mother, went into Isaac and said unto him, One petition I make unto thee. Make Esau swear that he will not injure Jacob, nor pursue him with enmity. For thou knowest Esau's thoughts, that they are perverse from his youth. For thou knowest Esau's thoughts, that they are perverse from his youth. So Esau had a perverse mind from the time that he was a child. He always had a perverse mind and a perverse spirit. And there is no goodness in him. And there is no goodness in him. His mother's saying this about him. The woman that he came out of, the woman that Esau came out of, is saying this about him. She would know. For thou knowest Esau's thoughts, that they are perverse from his youth, and there is no goodness in him. For he desires after thy death to kill him, to kill his brother Jacob. And thou knowest all that he has done since the day that Jacob his brother went to Haran until this day, how he has forsaken us with his whole heart, and has done evil unto us. Thy flocks he has taken for himself, and carried off all thy possessions before thy face. And when we implored and besought him for what was ours, he did as a man who was taking pity on us. And he is bitter against thee because thou didst bless Jacob, thy perfect and upright son. Jacob was the perfect and upright son. Esau was the son that was perverse from his youth and had no goodness in him. And he is bitter against thee because thou didst bless Jacob, thy perfect and upright son. For there is no evil, but only goodness in him. And since he came from Haran until this day, he has not robbed us of aught. For he brings us everything in his season always, and rejoices with all his heart when we take at his hands, and he blesses us. And he has not parted from us since he came from Haran until this day. And he remains with us continually at home, honoring us. And Isaac said unto her, I too know and see the deeds of Jacob who is with us, how that with all his heart he honors us. But I loved Esau formerly more than Jacob, because he was the firstborn. But now I love Jacob more than Esau, for he has done manifold evil deeds, and there is no righteousness in him. This is Esau, the father of the Edomites, the ancestor, the progenitor of the modern-day Caucasians. Isn't all of this checking out? His thoughts are perverse from his youth. There's no goodness or righteousness in him. For all his ways are unrighteousness and violence, and violence, and violence, and there is no righteousness around him. And now my heart is troubled because of all of his deeds. And neither he nor his seed is to be saved. And neither he nor his seed is to be saved. There will be no more Edomites. This is a bloodline that is going to be extinguished and exterminated. There will be no Edomites in the kingdom. And that's not only in Jubilees, you can find that in the regular 66 books of the Bible, specifically the book of Obadiah. These are Esau's parents talking about him. This is what they know their son to be. This is how evil they know that their son is. And neither he nor his seed is to be saved. For they are those who will be destroyed from the earth and will be rooted out from under heaven. For they are those, plural. So it's not just talking about Esau, it's saying his whole bloodline, all of his descendants. For they are those who will be destroyed from the earth and will be rooted out from under heaven. For he has forsaken the God of Abraham and gone after his wives and after their uncleanness and after their error, he and his children. So Esau, the forefather of the modern-day Caucasian, the red man who lacks melanin so we can see the blood through their skin, making them red in appearance. His thoughts are perverse from his youth. There is no goodness or righteousness in him. All of his ways are violent, and he nor his seed is to be saved, but they will be rooted out from under heaven in their entirety. That is scripture. That is prophecy. Let's get another scripture out of the book of Jubilees concerning Esau. This is the book of Jubilees, chapter 26. We're going to start at verse 32. And Esau said to his father, Hast thou but one blessing, O father? Bless me, even me also, father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Now this is after Esau said to his brother Jacob, What good is this birthright unto me? And sold it to his brother for a bowl of soup. You know, the Christians like to take that part out. When Esau said to his brother out of his own mouth, Well, what good is this birthright to me? Completely disrespected the birthright that the Most High God had given him by saying, Well, what good is it to me anyway? And gave it up. All those blessings he gave up for a bowl of soup. Jacob didn't steal anything. Esau already didn't want his birthright. And not only that, the Most High God knew how evil and wicked Esau was. Because if you read the account in Jubilees, when Rebekah put Jacob in Esau's clothes and put him in the goat skin so that he would be hairy like his brother Esau, you'll see in that chapter in Jubilees where it says that that was the Most High's doing. That was the Most High's will. Because he knew how evil Esau was and could not have Esau given the blessing. That was ordained by the Most High. And the Most High dampened Isaac's sight and his senses so that he would bless the perfect and upright son that was Jacob and not his evil, perverse, violent son that was Esau. Read the scriptures. That was the will and the doing of the Most High because he knew the heart of Jacob, our forefather, and Esau, the forefather of the Caucasian, and had already pre-chosen Jacob before they were even born to be his seed, and had told Jacob's grandfather Abraham about this. You can find that also in the book of Jubilees. When Abraham told Rebekah how the Most High felt concerning Jacob and Esau, and that the Most High had chosen her son Jacob. Rebekah already knew this. That's why when the day came for Jacob and Esau to be given a blessing, she knew what she needed to do to make sure that her wicked son Esau was not blessed. Because she had had a conversation decades before with her father-in-law, where he had told her, as a man of God that he was, where he had told her that the Most High God had chosen her son Jacob and not Esau. Read the whole story. Don't let these Christians spin it and make it seem like Jacob was some lying cheater. Read the whole story, but let's read on. Verse 33, And Esau lifted up his voice and wept, and Isaac answered and said unto him, Behold, far from the dew of the earth shall be thy dwelling, and far from the dew of heaven from above. And by the sword wilt thou live, by violence, by bloodshed, by bloodlust, by killing, by genocide shall ye live, by violence and death, by murder shall you live, and by the sword wilt thou live, and thou wilt serve thy brother. What a lot of people don't already know about that thou wilt serve thy brother thing, that's already happened. That's already happened. because the whole bloodline of Esau will be obliterated, will be wiped off of the face of the earth. So they will not be serving us in the kingdom. They will not be around to do that. They have already served us because we were the swarthy indigenous inhabitants of Europe for over 1,500 years. We were the nobility as Judah, as it says in Genesis 49, that the scepter shall not depart from Judah. We were the ruling nobles over the continent of Europe for over 1,500 years. And who were our servants? Our servants were our brother, the Caucasian, the descendants of Esau, who at that time were called the wild man of the woods, or the wood woes. Look at the coats of arms. So Esau has already served us. Now all that's left for them is destruction. Verse 34, and by the sword wilt thou live, and thou wilt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou becomest great, for a short amount of time, when thou becomest great, and dost shake his yoke from off thy neck, thou shalt sin a complete sin unto death, and thy seed shall be rooted out from under heaven. And thy seed shall be rooted out from under heaven. There will be no Edomites in the kingdom. We've read 2 different chapters in the book of Jubilees now. Their whole bloodline, the whole seed of Esau, will be rooted out because they are perverse and profane and violent, prideful and rebellious, and that there is no goodness or righteousness in them. This goes back 3,000 years to their forefather Esau. Hate is not taught. We're dealing with a spirit. You are who your father is. We're dealing with epigenetics. It's passed down. Jacob was the perfect and upright son that honored his parents and feared the Most High God. Esau is inherently narcissistic and psychopathic, naturally rebellious, prideful, and bloodthirsty. That is scripture.
Jacob and Esau, the twin sons of Isaac and Rebekah, were in conflict before they were even born. Rebekah, troubled by the fierce struggle in her womb, sought Yahweh for understanding. His reply was ominous. 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples shall be separated from your body. One shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. From the start, Yahweh revealed that these brothers represented opposing spirits and destinies, one aligned with divine purpose and the other consumed by carnality. Esau, the firstborn, emerged red and hairy, a symbol of his wild and untamed nature. Jacob followed, grasping Esau's heel, a sign of his persistent striving for the blessings Yahweh had ordained for him. Esau grew into a rugged hunter, a man of the field, but also reckless, impulsive, and driven by his fleshly desires. Jacob, on the other hand, was quiet, introspective, and spiritually inclined. Isaac loved Esau for his strength and hunting prowess, while Rebekah loved Jacob for his depth and connection to Yahweh's promises. The pivotal moment came on a day that exposed Esau's carelessness and lack of spiritual discernment. After a hunt, Esau returned home famished, his hunger blinding him to the sacredness of what he possessed. Jacob had prepared a pot of lentil stew. As the aroma filled the air, Esau demanded, "Give me some of that red stew, for I am starving." Jacob, sensing Yahweh's will and the depth of Esau's disregard for spiritual matters, seized the moment. "First, sell me your birthright," Jacob said. Esau, consumed by his immediate desires, scoffed, "What good is a birthright if I die of hunger?" Without hesitation, he swore away his birthright, trading an eternal inheritance for a fleeting meal. That day, Esau exposed his unworthiness for Yahweh's covenant, valuing the temporary over the divine. Years later, as Isaac aged and became blind, the time came to bestow the patriarchal blessing. Rebekah, remembering Yahweh's prophecy, devised a plan to ensure the blessing would go to Jacob, as Yahweh intended. Esau, oblivious to the spiritual weight of the moment, was preoccupied with his father's favoritism and his own entitlement to the blessing. Rebekah instructed Jacob to present himself to Isaac as Esau, ensuring that the blessing would pass to the one Yahweh had chosen. Jacob, reluctant but obedient to his mother and Yahweh's will, approached Isaac. The plan succeeded, and Isaac unknowingly bestowed the blessing on Jacob. When Esau returned and learned what had happened, his entitled arrogance turned to a bitter rage. He cried out to Isaac, "Bless me, father!" "Is there no blessing for me?" But the blessing had already been given, and Isaac solemnly told Esau, "Your brother has taken your blessing, and he shall be blessed." Esau's anger burned deep. Feeling betrayed, though it was his own disregard for Yahweh's covenant that had cost him, Esau vowed to kill Jacob. His bitterness consumed him, creating an eternal rift between the brothers and their descendants.
This is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary about Edom. Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. Great future judgments. See notably Isaiah 34 verse 5, 6, Isaiah 63 verse 1. She is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from God. So Edom will not receive any promise of mercy from God. Isaiah chapter 34 verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Because some people will say, well, it's talking about the land. The Lord is going to destroy the land. No, the Lord is going to destroy the people of the Idumeans, which is who? The Edomites. The Edomites are the Idumeans, which today we know as the so-called Caucasian.